Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto. We're going to dig into everything that I talked about during the Crypto Minute. So let's start with JPMorgan and First Republic Bank. As soon as you caught wind that First Republic Bank was going to have problems, I told you back in January that, hey, was it January, March, one of these months? Just look back in the videos, you'll see it. Anyway, I told you that there was a list that, somebody had put out of all the banks that could possibly be facing problems. First Republic was one of them, right? And this is stemming from how the bank was being managed. Now, do I think there's a contagion? I don't think there's contagion. I think there are a few banks that weren't run properly that, ran into problems and they went by the way of, First Republic. First Republic's assets are going to be picked up by JP Morgan, it looks like so far. But basically, poorly run banks, they're businesses. Don't forget, they're businesses. So if you have a poorly run bank, sooner or later it's going to catch up and they'll go out of business. Now, does that mean that its assets go away, things like that? No, the bigger bank is going to come in, swoop in, and purchase those assets and keep it moving. Well, it looks like that's what JP Morgan is going to do. Not mad about that at all. It's just business. It's just the way of the world. So the investors will catch it in the pockets, and people that actually bank there should be fine. Mastercard is doing something interesting. They want to introduce this whole Mastercard Crypto Credential. And basically, I guess it's some kind of verification trust authority for transactions, for the specific transactions, to be able to say that each of the parties within that transaction are who they say they are. Okay, I guess. I told you, I've been telling people for a while, I had this conversation with my kids, like, listen, credit card companies sell a service, and that service works right now. They sell credit, and they make money from that credit on both sides. They make it from the interest that gets charged by two people that don't pay the full bill at the end of the month, and they make it on the other side from the businesses that have to pay them a chunk of money to manage that transaction and give them what's quote unquote almost guaranteed money, right? Now, we know that it's not guaranteed money, but it's money. It's money up front. It's basically, you can almost equate it to a loan until that transaction fully closes, right? And I say fully close. Now, I said that, with the advent of crypto, credit card companies are going to have to find new ways of making money. Why? Because if crypto is a future, that means credit card companies don't have one. Just think about that for a moment. Now, if you stop and you ponder that idea, credit card companies have to be smart in what they're doing, and they have to figure out, like, what's their next step, what's their thing that's going to make them money on a go forward basis. Well, creating a credential platform, could be it. Don't know, but I think it's a good swing, right? Depending on what the company is and everything that's going on, it could be a good thing for credit card companies to do. But I do look at this particular thing and I kind of go, well, does crypto already do that? Does it do something more than crypto already provides, as in good enough for crypto? I don't know. I think time will tell, about how that works out and how that gets adopted. Now, something that does interest me: Venmo offering peer-to-peer crypto transactions or crypto transfers. That's interesting to me. That's very interesting to me, because I want to know, how does that work, right? You think about it, how it works right now. I have some money. I needed to send it to this person. I use Venmo to send them the money. Now Venmo has a record. They receive the money. They have a record of this person having an earmark for that money. They're holding that money in custody for that person. Now, how fast that person moves that money out and puts it into a bank or puts it to use for themselves, who knows? But for that period of time, Venmo's holding that. Is the same thing true for crypto? Meaning, does Venmo, or will Venmo, they haven't launched it yet, but they will. Does Venmo hold that, like a bank, hold that money as an earmark for that person, and then by holding that money have the ability to use that money because it's only earmarked, use that money for other transactions until this person decides they want to use it or something. I don't know if it's going to go that far, but I think that there are a couple of things working in their favor. Something that's working in their favor is a lot of people already have the app. That means they already have market penetration and adoption. If they were to launch this crypto peer-to-peer service, that would mean that a lot of people would be able to do that in that space and already have adoption. That's big, because that means that I can go to an event. Oh, can I pay you with Venmo? And the answer is becoming yes, more and more. So there's Venmo, there's Cash App, there's a couple other companies, but those are the two big ones. You walk in, you zap, you pay, boom, you keep it moving. Now it'll be, I can pay with fiat or I can pay with crypto. Lordy, just stop there. That's a big deal. So what I'm asking about, will they be able to use that money like a bank, because it's earmarked for the person, yada, yada. That's down the road. But that immediate peer-to-peer transaction, that's big. I can walk into a store, zap, money gets there or crypto gets there, walk out with whatever it is I'm going to walk out with. Boom. So I'm kind of like, I want to see how this works. I want to see how the fees work and all that other good stuff. There are a lot of technical things that I'd be interested in learning about, but that's pretty cool. I really do think that's a cool thing. Now, something else that happened is Hong Kong is pushing for its banks to offer services to digital firms, crypto companies. This is as a lot of banks around the world are saying no to crypto. Take a step back and breathe that in for a moment. While the US is lagging in regulation and guardrails for the crypto industry, this is one of a series of moves that Hong Kong, they're owned by China, has been taking to make crypto more accessible. If the United States does not wake up, they're going to keep pushing ahead and we're going to keep falling behind. You already have major crypto firms that are already considering leaving the United States as their base of operation and moving to other countries. We should be very mindful of not allowing that to happen. And you can only do that if you have regulation that fosters growth, fosters trust, and builds from where we are now. Just my humble thought. And you can't say that, crypto is a shot in the dark, it's going away, when you have, big four consulting firms like Deloitte looking to put on about, 300 new roles in the Web3 space. Yeah, let that wash over you a minute. Deloitte is hiring for 300 new resources, and they're all Web3. That's in addition to other positions being opened around automation and artificial intelligence, and all those things. That's a big deal. That's a very big deal. When you consider where Web3 and cryptocurrencies are going, that's a very big bet. Massive. Massive. So not only are they hiring the resources, but that's enough to build out a complete practice. Like really build out a complete practice. I'd be keeping my eye on Deloitte and other companies, other big four companies or consulting firms that could be moving in the same direction or may have already. Anyway, we should get to the numbers. Let's see what we got going on here. So normally I start on this page and I start to look at, what do we have that's going on here? Like, you have U.S. unemployment report. It comes later on this week. You have productivity, trade deficit coming on Thursday, ADP unemployment or employment numbers coming on Wednesday, U.S. job openings tomorrow. Anything happening today? Manufacturing PMI. Okay. Yeah, for me, that's probably what I'll be paying attention to. Unemployment rates, the employment reports, all that stuff. That's probably stuff that I'm paying attention. It helps me look forward, right? I don't like to get into politics, but the fact is that one of the ways that that Republicans are going to try, or let me rephrase, one of the ways that any incumbent party, right? So Biden's a Democrat, he's in office. One of the ways that the opposition is going to move is to worsen the economy because that makes the sitting president or sitting party look bad. I also think it's a dumb move, but that could be very well what's going on right now with McCarthy and all that good stuff. But I think that's going to backfire because you have too much positivity, and you can't have too many people out of work. That could land you in a far worse recession, and that would not be a good thing, like at all. When you talk about fiscal responsibility, all that other good stuff. So those are things that I pay attention to. It's also May 1st, and you know what they say, sell in May, go away. And I'm thinking with First Republic, there are going to be a lot of people that are going to say, yeah, I might sell in May and go away, but maybe I should put my money in crypto so I retain value. So I'm going to be paying attention to that as well. Let's see what the fear and greed index is at. It's at 63. Remember last week we were at 56. So to me, that's huge, but I want to understand why, right? This is why I do the research that I do and why I have my kids do the same. It's because I want to understand the why behind things. Because if I can understand the why, I can understand how it could happen again or how it won't happen and what the effects are. So this is what I try to teach my kids. We're down a bit in terms of total value lockdown to 64, 66 billion. That's kind of a big deal, but we're kind of bouncing between that whole space. You see how it's basically moving sideways, right? So these are things that I'm paying attention to in a major fashion. Looking at Bitcoin, at the Bitcoin price, we're down a bit to 28. What's that, about 28,573? It had been lower, but we're again kind of basically really, I think we're going to move sideways a little bit. But I think this First Republic news probably could see some Bitcoin movement going upward along with others. This is my problem screen and it's such a pain. All right, well, let's try to refresh. Let's go look at this at the straight numbers. Bitcoin, like I said, 528, 558, 567. Ethereum below 1900. I think it'll get back there today. The one I'm really paying attention to is Polygon. I bought last week Polygon at about 98 cents. Could have snatched it up at 96. I think that's going to go up based on the news. Working with Mastercard, I think that's going to be a positive thing for them and a couple out there. Avalanche down, but not a lot. So I'm looking at some sideways movement, but I'm also looking at, I want to see how the market plays with this whole First Republic stuff that's going on. And this site still isn't up. I guess it doesn't want to be shown on television. No big deal. Anyway, this is Eddie J. Oh, there it is. So you can see everything's in the red, but you can see how the numbers are still really high. I want you to really pay attention to that. The numbers are not doing great, but they're still really high from where they were earlier this year. That tells me there's serious strength in the market. Anyway, this is Eddie J on crypto. I hope you have a great day. Let me know if my research helps you. And if it does, I can keep doing it because it's kind of fun. Have a good one. Bye-bye.